Hey GlobeTrotters! Thank you for coming back and watching another video. To my subscribers, you guys, I am incredibly grateful to you. I don't even think I personally know almost 100 people to say, well, hey guys, join my channel. So I'm really grateful and really thankful. I'm glad that you're enjoying the content of the channel. I hope that you continue to watch because I have some great content in store for you in the future. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Lori, and on this channel, our goal is to educate, motivate, and inspire each other in all things travel related. So if you like that kind of a vibe, then consider subscribing as well. If you're on your mobile device, you can simply click on my face and there's a subscribe button there. If you're on your TV, you go up, then go across, then click on my face, and then there's a subscribe button there. If you do not yet have a YouTube account, then you simply input an email address. It's completely free, non-obligations, nothing that you have to buy or anything like that. And then you go ahead and you just follow the channel, and make sure you click also that bell, because that's a notification button, and that lets you know when I upload something new so that you don't have to miss out on any of the great content coming along. So in this video, we're going to be talking about all things cruise related. I'm going to give you some tips on how to pick your cruise, how to pick the best cruise for you. I'm going to give you some tips about embarkation, some tips about once you're on the cruise, and then some tips also about having the best time on the cruise and saving some money as well. Of course, we always talk about saving money on this channel, so saving some money as well. So if you think that's your vibe, then I hope that you enjoy this video. And if you find yourself enjoying the video, if you find yourself learning at least one thing new while you're watching it, consider giving the video a thumbs up, because when you give it a thumbs up, when you like the video, then what YouTube does is it says, okay, this content is valuable, this content is relatable, so we're going to push it out to more people in the YouTube community. And so I hope you enjoy it, I hope you learn something new, and I hope you give the video a thumbs up. So come along, let's get right into it. I've decided to break the video up into 8 segments, and I will also try to put timestamps in or chapters in, so it'll be easy for you to save the video and return to the video and then just skip to the chapter where you need that information. So let's start with booking the perfect cruise. And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my phone for my notes to make sure that I'm touching on all of my bullet points. Okay, I had to come back inside because nature was doing its thing. Bees were buzzing, dogs were barking, roosters were crowing. It was just too much. So I'm back inside. It's just nature won. Okay, nature, you win. I'm back inside. Okay. So again, back to the first segment, choosing the right cruise. You need to do your research. You need to figure out where you want to go. First of all, are you trying to go to the Caribbean? Are you trying to take a river cruise in the Mediterranean? Are you trying to take an Alaskan cruise? Are you trying to go around the world in 30 days, in 60 days? What is it that you're trying to do? Research various cruise lines and their reputations, taking into account factors like their ship size, their onboard facility, their reputation for service. Service is very important to me. Most cruise ships will give you good service because cruising is like an all-inclusive vacation. So you want to make sure that you look at their target demographics. For instance, Carnival is known as the fun ship. Colloquially, we know Carnival as being the party cruise line. So if you're interested in having a good time and having, fun parties planned around the clock, there's always a fun director. I forgot what their official title is, but it may be fun director actually. But if you were interested in a fun time, music playing around the pool all of the time, then Carnival is that kind of cruise for you. That's the target demographic. It's a younger crowd. If you wish to have a more sophisticated experience, then Celebrity Cruises may be it for you. If it's a more family type of experience, then a Disney cruise may be it for you, especially with younger kids, because there will be characters on board. So consider all of these when trying to plan your cruise. Remember to take into consideration your budget. Are you, different cruise lines offer different price ranges. Some of the cheaper cruises will be like Carnival and Royal Caribbean and those, but of course the shorter cruises will be less money and the longer cruises will be more money because they're taking into consideration how many activities you're participating, the food costs, entertainers, and all of that. Take your budget into account because you will have to have transportation to the cruise port, from the cruise port, excursions on the cruise, unless you're just planning on staying on the ship the entire time, every time you disembark, shopping, all of that. Remember also to consider budget items such as gratuities and onboard expenses, extra drinks. Yes, all of these. Yes. So now that you've decided on the right cruise or cruise line, now we're going to go on to picking the perfect itinerary. Now, it's at this stage of the process where you consider your travel preferences. Are you more interested in laying out on the beach, relaxing in the sun? Are you more interested in exploring historical sites, museums, ruins, those kinds of things? Or are you more interested in just experiencing different cultures and it doesn't matter? So you want to research the ports of call, which basically ports of call are where the ship will be docking, where the ship will stop each day of the cruise or every other day or whenever the frequency is of when they stop. But you want to see where the ship will be stopping and if those are interesting to you. You want to see what activities are there on the ship and at the ports of call and if they're attractive to you at all. Consider the length of the cruise. Shorter cruises I recommend for first timers. Longer cruises are more immersive and it can be a little bit overwhelming for a first time cruiser. So first time cruisers, I would say 3 to 4 days or nights on the ship is plenty. Even if you can find one for 2 days, it may be a good introduction into the cruising life. But I think 3 to 4 days or 3 to 4 nights on a ship, I recommend for cruisers that you choose a larger ship. I find that larger ships, you're less likely to be seasick and there's a lot more things to do. So you're never bored on a larger cruise ship. Segment number 3, the booking process and your cabin selection. Be very, very intentional here. Think about if you prefer to see the sunlight. I know my very first cruise, I got an inside cabin. Inside cabins are always cheaper. Inside cabin means that there are no outside views. Literally, there's no window, there's no little porthole. That would be a cabin with a porthole or a view. There's no balcony for you to step out onto and just escape the confines of the small room cruise ship. Cabin sizes are very small, you guys. I mean, like teeny tiny. It's a studio. It's less than a studio apartment. It's smaller than your typical hotel room, unless you're in New York. And typical hotel rooms in New York are very small. Like you can reach your arms out from side to side and touch each wall on either side of your bed. Once again, if it doesn't matter to you and you just want to have the cruise experience and you figure, when I sleep, I like it pitch black anyway and the inside won't bother me, then sure, go ahead with the inside cabin. I think the cheapest cabins on the cruise ships are usually inside cabins where 4 people share a room and there may even be bunk beds in those rooms. Those are usually the cheapest category. But look at the different prices, look at the different cabin types, look at the different cabin sizes. They will have the cabin sizes on there as well in square feet. So you can consider if you would be spending any time in the cabin other than sleeping, then you want to have something a little bit larger. If you want to retreat from the crowds at any point, then you may want to consider having a cabin with a balcony. For me, I don't think I will ever do another cruise with anything but a balcony cabin, at this point, at least for me. But I recommend for most of you first-time cruisers, if seeing the sun or seeing the ocean is something that you aspire to from your own room, then at least get a cabin with an ocean view. Of course, because we're also about saving money here as well as having a great experience, you want to compare prices and availability on the different booking platforms. You may want to be on Expedia and looking at the different prices. You may want to go to the cruises website as well directly, because sometimes booking directly is a great idea because they have different discounts that you may not find. And again, do not forget your traditional travel advisor, your traditional travel agent, because they may have discounts on top of what the cruise line is offering. And so you can definitely stack those discounts and save a lot of money. Don't forget to factor in those additional costs like reservations at specialty restaurants. Sometimes, especially on the larger cruise ships that are like floating cities, you would have to make reservations at the specialty restaurants. There are restaurants where you can eat for free, but there are restaurants where you would have to pay. Some place where it's like a fancy chef's name on a restaurant, you're gonna have to make reservations and you're gonna have to pay additionally. That's not included in your cruise fare. What's also not included in your cruise fare, usually liquor. So if you like to drink and you like to have a cocktail here and there, and it may not be in your best interest, I mean, consider the costs. I'll just say that. Break it down. Most of the packages, it's like a couple $100 to have about up to 15 drinks per day. And not 15 alcoholic drinks, people, because what's also included is things like your lattes. What's included in that package price is things like your lattes and your sodas. No, sodas are not included. Usually what's included in your cruise package price: water and if they have a fruit punch or if they have a lemonade. So you want to be able to, if you like sodas, if you like alcohol, if you like lattes, then yeah, you're going to have to pay a little bit extra for those kinds of things. Now be careful, because if one person in the cabin books the drink package and you think, oh, we can just share amongst each other. No, if one person in the cabin books that drink package, everyone in the cabin has to book that drink package as well, because you're not going to get over on the cruise line by sharing drinks, because one of you bought the drink package. So drink packages, specialty dining, taxes, fees, gratuities. What the cruise lines have been doing, and I think almost all of them do it, is they allow you to prepay your gratuities. Now think about it, there's a lot of people working behind the scenes, not just the people who are serving your food and serving your drinks and cleaning your room, but there are people working on the ship. There are people, there's a lot of things happening. So I would say you can always remove the gratuities if you wish, but I would say consider prepaying your gratuities. Pay your gratuities, because these people, this is their livelihood. And also try to prepay it. That way, when you get on the cruise, you are relaxed and there's no sticker shock to anything new that comes up. So if you want the drink package, prepay your drink package. If you want, to prepare your gratuities, also do that. Now, the fourth segment is preparing for the cruise. Be sure to check the cruise line's website for any specific requirements, such as passport validity, visas, or even vaccinations for certain destinations. Yes, you have to be careful to make sure that you're up on all of the requirements. Most cruise lines require you to fill out a passenger profile, including your ICEs, your in case of emergency contacts. And if you don't have all of that information filled out, they will not allow you to print your boarding pass. Yes, you need a boarding pass, just as if you were to board an airline, you have a boarding pass to board the ship. Be sure to pack appropriate clothing for various occasions, including formal nights, casual days, and active excursions. Yes, there is usually a formal night. You may have to, not have to, but there's usually at least one night. If it's a short cruise, 3 to 4 days, there's usually at least one night where there's a formal night. It's usually called a captain's dinner or something like that. You get a little bit more dressed up, so you put on, you'll see people in evening gowns and heels and tuxedos because they want to take really nice pictures around the ship and have that as a memory. It's just an opportunity to just dress up and look nice on a cruise. If it's a longer cruise, usually 7 nights or more, there are 2 formal nights. So consider that. And no, you don't have to wear a gown. No, you don't have to wear a tuxedo, but you just dress up a little nicer. Think about it, your Sunday best. You want to dress up a little bit nicer for those formal occasions on the cruise nights, on the formal nights. Pack appropriate clothing also for your excursions. If you're doing zip lining, if you're doing ATVing, if you're doing a beach day at an exclusive beach somewhere, if you're doing a day at a water park or an amusement park, whatever it is, horseback riding, think of whatever your excursion is. If you're going hiking, and make sure you pack accordingly. Make a checklist of your essential items that you need to bring on this cruise. Make sure you have a checklist of your medications. Make sure you have a checklist of sunscreen, toiletries, any necessary adapters and chargers. And by the way, I also have a bonus tip in this category. Bring an extension cord, something you can have that will, include all of your different accessories, because on most cruise ships and most rooms, there's not a lot of adapters. There are not a lot of plugs. So you want to have a plug for a nightlight if you want, a plug to charge all the different devices, especially if there's like 4 people in the room. You're never going to have enough outlets to charge all of your devices. So bring an extension cord so you can have extra outlets to plug in your devices. That's my bonus tip in this segment. Segment number 5, or category number 5, is embarkation day. You will be given a time on the day that the cruise leaves when you will be allowed to board the ship. My recommendation is that you board as early as you can. As soon as the window opens for you to choose your boarding time, board as early as you can. That gives you more time before the ship leaves the port to familiarize yourself with the ship, to give yourself a little tour, to get comfortable on the ship, to know where your cabin is in relation to the dining area, in relation to the stairs and the elevators, etc. You want to get there early also because your vacation starts earlier. Duh. Usually the bars are open by the time you get on the ship. I took a New Year's cruise with my family back in 2015. No. 2005, end of 2005, going into 2006 New Year's cruise. And it was so much fun. And getting on that cruise, I think it was about 15 of us, getting on that cruise was, priority for me to get on there early so we can start the party early. Because it was New Year's, they were handing out free champagne when you got on the cruise. It was so much fun. And by the way, not every time they hand you a drink is it free, because you will have a card, and that card, kind of like a room key, is what you use throughout the cruise. Cruises are cash free, kind of like your airplanes. So you use that card. Your room key card is also what you use to charge anything you buy on board, whether it's at the specialty restaurants, whether it's at bingo, whether it's at the art auctions. Yes, there are art auctions on cruises. That's a tip I tell you, and enjoy that. I always do bingo. It seems like I only do bingo when I'm on cruises, and I'm always at the art auction because I love art, and I love to see if I can pick up a nice piece from a lesser known artist that could be considered an investment sometime in the future. So I rambled off topic there a bit, but on embarkation day, again, you want to arrive on time. You want to even arrive a little bit early so you can start the party a little bit earlier. You want to make sure that you have a carry-on bag. Yes, they may take your suitcase and put your suitcase in your room. That's kind of what the porters do, and the porters are the people who handle your baggage, and that's fine. But take your items that you absolutely need, just like you would with your personal item on an airline. I told you in many previous videos to make sure you pack your chargers, make sure you pack your medications, make sure you pack all the essential items that you absolutely have to have in your personal item bag. Now, this can be a backpack, this can be a tote, but I also recommend that you pack an extra change of clothing, especially if you're coming from a different climate. Your extra change of clothing should be in that bag, because you may not see your luggage until later that evening. You may not see your luggage until in the middle of the night or early the next morning, because they have to get the baggage, all this baggage that everyone checked or submitted when they were getting onto the ship, to all these different cabins. So make sure you have comfortable clothing, comfortable shoes in your personal item bag. A huge mistake that a lot of people make is packing away their medical forms, their boarding pass, and all of that in a front pocket or something like that of their main luggage item, like their suitcase. You will need these items to board the ship. You may need these items when you're on board the ship if there's a medical emergency before you get your baggage. So keep all of those important items, your boarding pass, your medical forms, your insurance card, all of these items in your personal item bag. Another bonus tip for you in this category: most cruise lines will allow adults over the age of 21 one bottle of alcohol, a bottle of wine. I think it's about maybe 750 milliliters the bottle, so not a jumbo bottle. And usually 2 bottles per cabin. So if there are 4 adults in the cabin, no, every person cannot bring a bottle on board, unless the cruise lines change that sometime. But I think generally it's 2 bottles per cabin if there are 2 adults in the room. So you can bring a bottle of alcohol onto the cruise with you. Now, if you take it to dinner with you, they may charge you a $10-15 uncorking fee, but or you can just enjoy that in the privacy of your own cabin. So here's a tip that not a lot of people know before they get on a cruise for the very first time. So you may not even have to buy the alcohol package if you're not a heavy drinker like that. Something else that I did when I cruised one time was I learned after my first cruise that there were people who brought specialty drinks, and they were allowed to bring those drinks onto the cruise, because cruise lines make their money from you buying all of these items from them. And so I got a note from my doctor saying that I needed to drink bottled water, and a specific bottled water. I drank a flavored bottled water at that time, and I brought 2 cases of that water on with me. I was allowed to bring that on. I brought a little, one of those little trolley things, like a grocery cart little thing, and just like that fold up. I'll put a picture here, but I brought that on with me as I boarded the cruise with my personal item as well, and I was fine with that as long as I had a doctor's note for it. So little tip for you there that may come in handy. We're up to segment number 6, onboard activities and dining. So once you get on the ship, make sure that you explore the ship. Make sure you know where all of the dining facilities are. You're going to learn about terms such as Lido deck, and you're going to find where the entertainment takes place around the pools. Learn which pools are for adults only, which are for adults and children. Learn about the water slides, if there are any, zip lining, if there's any roller skating rinks. Learn where the fitness facilities are. learn about, there's usually an onboard walking area. And for those of us who are insomniacs, or if you're having an inside cabin, I remember my first cruise with the inside cabin. If I woke up and there was nothing else to do, I went walking. So I was probably the only person on that cruise that lost weight during a cruise, because even though you can eat around the clock, because it's literally all inclusive, I was walking everywhere. And that's another bonus tip. Try to take the elevators as infrequently as possible, especially if you're going downstairs. Try to walk down the stairs if your knees are okay, if you don't have any ability issues with getting around, because you're able to burn a few more calories. You're eating a little bit more, you're indulging, you're enjoying all of the different foods. So yes, of course, indulge, but also try to increase your activities to offset the amount of extra calories that you'll be taking in through eating and drinking. So get out there and participate in the Congo line. That's a few extra steps and a few extra calories burned. Get in the pool and float around. Take advantage of the spa. Learn where the spa is, especially on excursion days, on port days when the ship is docked. The spa usually is open and they usually have specials. So for people who wish to partake in that, get a massage, get a facial, go in and do some special kind of treatment for yourself. If you don't want to go on to dry land that day, you can stay on ship and get like 40, 30, 50% off of a treatment and take advantage of that. Another sweet tip. So I already told you before that there may be specialty restaurants where you have to make reservations and you may have to pay an additional fee to dine there. But generally, there are buffets, there are main dining halls. So, and these are not your typical buffets where food is just left out and people can just run their hands through it and what have you. These are nicer, more upscale dining options, buffets. And so, make a note of where the buffets are, make a note of where the dining halls are. Usually, you would have chosen what time you want to dine, whether you want early dining or later dining. Consider what works best for your diet and what works best for the way you normally eat. I don't normally eat past a certain time at night, so late dining may not be the option I take. But if there are certain shows that take place at certain times of that night, of different nights of the cruise, that I may wish to participate in a different dining option. So familiarize yourself. Know that you can also order in-room dining. So again, if you have ability issues and you find yourself spending more time in your cabin, you can order your meals to your cabin, even from the main dining. So if you wanted to have lobster on lobster night, lobster and steak. And another tip, be careful, because when you're at the dining hall and there's, for instance, you may see lobster, you may see, steak on the menu. You can actually order lobster and steak. Yeah, you can order as many options as you wish, and they usually just keep bringing it to you. This is in the regular dining hall, not necessarily in the specialty dining restaurants, not in those specialty dining restaurants. So yeah, be careful, because your eyes may be bigger than your stomach, as the old saying goes. Category number 7. As I mentioned before, research and book your shore excursions in advance, especially for popular destinations, because you want to ensure that there's availability when you want to do that special thing. So, ATVing or exploring the Mayan ruins in a cruise that stops in Cancun or something like that, you want to make sure that you book those ahead of time. Spontaneous discoveries. I'm going to insert another bonus tip here. And the bonus tip is to make sure that you set your watch to the ship's time, because you may be docking in different time zones, and the ship's time is when the ship will dock and when the ship will also depart. So you want to make sure that you're not looking at local time and saying, oh, I have 3 more hours before the ship departs. You want to make sure that you get back on ship at ship's time. And I recommend that you get back to the ship an hour previously to when the ship is set to depart. Get back there an hour before the ship leaves. Get back there an hour before the ship leaves. Another tip, the benefit to booking your excursions through the cruise line is that they will never leave you if that excursion is late getting back to the ship. However, if you book your excursion independently, which may save you some money, and you get back there late, you will be one of those people running to catch the ship. The ship will leave you, and on your own dime, on your own expense, you will have to catch a flight or something like that to catch up with the cruise at its next stop, at its next port, at its next docking. On your own dime. Yes. So don't be one of those people. Segment number 8, entertainment and nightlife. There is entertainment and nightlife for even kids, and I neglected to include on the first day when you get on the ship, make sure that you register your children for the children's club, and it's called different names on different ships. So it's free. You can drop off your child at a certain time of each day, and there's a schedule. There's an activity schedule. Even if there is a club on board, like a dance club on board, usually the children get to have day parties at that dance club. They get to have special tours of the behind the scenes of the ship. Go and see where the captain steers the ship, and go up to, I'm not going to use all the technical terms, but there's fun activities for kids to do of all different ages. And even if your child has different abilities or may have some allergies and those kinds of things, they work with you on these ships. My son had allergies, and I wanted to make sure that they kept in touch with me at all times. They gave me a special phone where they would call me if they had any questions, or I can call them if I had any questions throughout the day. So I was able to call, or they were able to call and say, can he eat this or can he eat that? And so I was quite comfortable leaving him when he was younger in the kids club area, and he had a ball. He met friends, and he basically abandoned me even during the times that he wasn't in the club area. He wanted to go play ping pong with his friends or play basketball or whatever they were doing, and they were having a good time. The kids just link up and they have a great time. For adults and for kids, check the daily activity schedule, because there will always be, something printed out or something on the TV in your room showing, on even now on the apps of each of the cruise ships. You can use the app on their Wi-Fi. By the way, Wi-Fi is not free. It's another one of those expenses that you have to pay for. However, usually the cruises app will work on the ship without Wi-Fi, because only their app will work on the ship without Wi-Fi. Take advantage of the ship's nightlife options as well, including live performances. There's usually like really great entertainment where people put on Broadway style shows. There may be like Cirque du Soleil style shows. There may be artists, maybe one of your favorite artists may be coming on board to do a special concert, or maybe there's a tribute band that's doing some of the music of one of your favorite artists or some of your favorite bands. There's usually themed parties. There are a multitude of bars on these cruise ships, because again, they make their money particularly in the drinking area. So you want to make sure that you check those out. Oh my gosh, karaoke. How can I not mention karaoke? There is usually karaoke throughout cruises. So bingo and karaoke, two things I will do on a cruise. Most definitely do, especially after you have a few drinks. And if there's a piano bar or a dueling piano bar and they're going back and forth, the piano bars where the piano players will be playing a song and then he wants everyone else to sing along to that song. I love that. I love that kind of stuff. Music, yes. Engage with your fellow passengers, even if you're cruising solo, and you can cruise solo. For first-time cruisers, know this, however. If you cruise solo, you're going to pay for the entire cabin, not just one person. Some cruise lines have been doing something differently recently, where they may have an option for you to only pay as a single person plus an extra premium, but most of them require you to pay as if there are at least 2 people in that cabin. So you want to make sure you do your research and plan your budget accordingly. But engage with fellow passengers, whether you're traveling as a family, whether you're traveling solo, whether you're traveling as a couple. Engage with other passengers, get to know different people. You'll get to know people from different states, different countries, different areas. Get to know the crew, because on these ships especially, there's always crew from all different countries. It's fascinating to me to meet new people, to hear the different languages, to hear their stories, people celebrating different things on these cruises, whether they're getting married on the cruise or they're celebrating an anniversary or a child's birthday or graduation. It's always so interesting to get to know other people on the cruises. So have a good time. Have a really, really good time. So as they say in the cruise industry, bon voyage. So there you have it. Those are all my tips. As always, I want you to value experiences over things, because travel is the only thing you buy that truly makes you richer. Embrace the cruise experience. Go on those excursions. Engage with new people. Speak to the people. Try something new that you've never tried before. Try a food that you've never tried before. Try an activity that you've never tried before. Have a good time. Life is too short to put these things off until someday. Embrace the journey and share those unforgettable memories with us. So drop down in the comments, tell us any tips you have for cruising, and tell us maybe one of your most memorable cruises. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you thumbs up the video. Don't forget to subscribe. I have a goal of hitting 100 subscribers by the end of June, and we're almost there, guys. So I'm speaking to you. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and click on that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.